So I'm sitting there, I go on the internet, do whatever I do until I get sick and tired of doing whatever I was doing on the internet. Then there's nothing else to do. So I said, you know what, the guy has a bookshelf with a bunch of masahif, Quran. Why don't I read the Quran like everybody else? So I started reading the Quran. I've been listening to the Quran, have not yet read the Quran. I'm praying and doing things, minimum requirement. As I read the Quran, I don't remember any particular surah or ayah that I read that kind of shook me, you know what I mean? But just reading the whole thing made me reach the conclusion that this Ramadan will be the change of my life. I'll have to make the change. And I strove to be a good Muslim until the end of Ramadan. Guys, as soon as Ramadan ended, it was like a dream. And I went back to everything I had left alone. The shayateen are back, and I don't have enough iman. But there was now a struggle. Before there was no struggle. I had surrendered completely to shayateen. Now, then, I said, there's a struggle. So, one day I would pray, one day I would smoke. One day I will, speak to certain people, and the next day I would leave them alone. And I went through this really inner, internal struggle that cannot be described in words. Very difficult.
وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَمَعَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ.
But the point is that Allah says, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. Learn this lesson. Those who strive, you just make the effort with your weakness. If you make the effort, we shall surely guide them to the paths. I started struggling. I moved out from these guys with another guy, without mentioning his nationality, into his apartment, 2-bedroom apartment. One for me, one for him. Now, I'm in a very sensitive phase, okay? I'm trying to leave alone the haram, trying to do good, but I have a lot of jahiliyyah, So when I wanted to wash my clothes, I was too cheap and too lazy to buy my own detergent. I said, when the guy goes to work, he was a security guard, I will use his, Tide. It wasn't Tide, it was some other brand, to wash my clothes. So I'm waiting for him, I'm sitting there, watching TV, pretending nothing's happening, waiting for the guy to leave. As soon as he leaves, I go pick up my clothes in the basket, and I open the cupboard, and I get the, and I get some detergent, and I go. Guess what? The guy was slick, man. He used to put that container in a particular way, to know if anyone used it. I thought no one would do this, man. I mean, we were cool guys, everybody used everybody's stuff. So, but he didn't say anything. I thought, big deal, it's this detergent for the sake of Allah. Come on, man. So that happened. He didn't say anything. Things are coming along. I'm starting to get a little better. And I start liking the masjid. Okay, there was Masjid Reseda, not too far from where I was living. And that became my place of comfort. That became the place of relaxation. I would go there often, try to pray there as much as possible, by Allah's tawfiq, of course, not because of me. And things were coming along. And we wind up meeting a brother from Syria, may Allah forgive us and forgive him, who was the one who started teaching us tajweed. But there was a lot of Sufism. I would remember we would be sitting in the morning, in congregation. أصبحنا وأصبح الملك لله والحمد لله. The adhkar, we will say them in unison with the moving of the head back and forth every morning. Together, then we go to the donut shop and have coffee and whatever. طيب. Things are starting to get better in some way, and they're getting worse with Hisham. Hisham, the nice guy, the one who did me favors. I was a lousy employee, just tell it to you from the end. It was my fault. I didn't want to work. I was too lazy, too passive, too whatever, and he wanted a hard worker. So we weren't getting along, and eventually I had to get fired from his job as well. And this is when I had met the guy named Talal. Talal had a bus. He had a what? A bus, which was his what? His home. He had a bus, like a school bus, but it was beige instead of yellow. He took out all the seats, and he used to sell wholesale pens, wholesale notebooks, and erasers, whatever, things like that, stationery stuff. And so he had a love seat, like a sofa, at the end of the bus where he would sleep, and the rest of the bus is where he put his bada'a, his own merchandise, and he would drive around and drop off his stuff at the different Muslim kind of stores and groceries and whatever. And I'm like, this is amazing, man. And I'm inclined towards this idea. One time I go home and my roommate says, why did you go to my room and try to steal my money? I was like, what? He's like, there's a sock, one sock out of a pair on the ground in my room. And I lock my room. Why were you trying to rob me? I said, Ya Sheikh, why would I ever rob you? He said, you took the detergent before. I was like, oh, busted. Now, try to explain to him that I didn't do it. He's not believing me. He's convinced that I stole before. So khalas, the shaitan told him, I remember, I got the Quran, wallahi, I didn't go to your room. Look, it was detergent, man. I didn't think you would trip over some detergent. I know I stole it, but I wasn't really stealing it, it was just using it from you. The guy's system shut down. You are this, and he started going to the masjid telling the people, this guy's a thief, this guy is ta'ban, this guy's like, Ya Sheikh, kharabtili bayti, I'm trying to do things good in the masjid, leave me alone. The guy, khalas. I said, you know what, I'm going to buy this bus and move out from this place. And sure enough, I did. I bought this bus, which became my home. Therefore, I could be your neighbor anytime you want. You just call me, I'll drive my house right next to yours, park outside, and I'm your neighbor. And I became many people's neighbors back then. I'm living on the bus, wallahi, the best times of my life. The best times of my life. I got a membership at a fitness, gym, because I need a shower. Unless you don't shower, I needed a shower. Where am I going to shower? So I got a membership at the gym. I would go work out, and then this is the place where I would shower. Denny's restaurants is open 24 hours. That's where I use the bathroom and eat. And Ralph's supermarket is open 24 hours. That's where I get my snacks. I got it all figured out. I'm living on the bus, ya Jama'ah, you won't believe. Yani, peace of mind. I have no rent to pay. Rent is very expensive over there. I was renting a one bedroom in the apartment for I think $800. How much is that in riyals? Around 3,000 something riyals. You pay this now for 3 months in your 6-bedroom apartment. Anywho, I'm having a blast. I'm by myself. I'm running away from all the things which I've been, I'm starting to grow. My iman is starting to grow by Allah's grace. I'm leaving alone all kinds of stuff. And I start working in a company in downtown Los Angeles, long distance phone calling, and I was a telemarketer. I would call the Arabs in particularly, because I was an Arab, I would call them and sell them long distance plans for people in Lebanon, Egypt, whatever they called, for lesser prices than AT&T and the ones that they offer there. And it was a good paying job. I think it was like $10 an hour, double what I used to make with Hisham. I'm making money, I'm chilling. There's a masjid there, Vermont Masjid. I would park my bus outside that masjid often, or sometimes near work, and I would pray Fajr there. Now mind you, the bus which I had was very old, no license plates. I bought it from a guy who ripped me off actually. Long story, I'm going to skip it for good reasons. The way I open my bus is with a cane. You know the cane that the old man uses? Okay, because there's no driver door. There's only the door where the students are the passengers are supposed to get on the bus. The only way you can open it is with a handle. So I would have to open the window for the driver's seat, there's no door, and would extend the cane, and with the cane grab the handle, and after maybe 20, 25 tries, finally be able to yank it for the door to open, then I get to my bus. So I would be walking at, cold, it's very cold in the morning in Los Angeles, I have this big blanket over me, I have a cane, I'm like 25 years old, you know, it's like, what is this bum? He's this young bum walking down the street. And I would go to the masjid to lead people in salah. Well, I'm not supposed to lead them in salah, but there were only 3 people praying fajr. Look at the sad condition. 3 people would come for salat al-fajr. The masjid is 3 times this hall. But they were all non-Arabs, and so the tendency is, if you're an Arab, you should lead the people in salah because supposedly you may have better pronunciation. I had learned some Quran, remember, so I wasn't that bad. So anyways, but I had forgotten, maybe I had a few surahs memorized. I wasn't really trying to memorize the Quran. When they made me the imam, I made it a point to start memorizing Juz' Amma again. I started to memorize Juz' Amma. I became their official imam. Every morning, I'll put the cane on the side and lead the people in salah. Allahu Akbar, and there were 3 people running behind me. I'm like, yeah, this is the good days. Until I called my mom. Mom, good news. Khair ya mama. Khair inshallah. Mama, ana taking a bus. Shoo? Of course you don't know Lebanese dialect. Mom, I live on a bus. What? What? You live where? In a bus. In a bus? You crazy? They will kill you. I said, no, they can't. I got a big knife. You have a big knife? Not knife. You have a big knife? I said, yeah, no one, Mom. In Los Angeles, you must be out of your mind. I'm trying to convince my mom that this is the best thing that happened to me. It is not working. My aunt, she's an atheist, FYI. The one that first welcomed me when I went from Lebanon to her house is an atheist. Her husband is on some other planet in terms of deen. I don't know what he considers himself. May Allah guide him. I had many problems with him eventually. You'll see. So my mom, they moved to Texas. They would move back and forth between Los Angeles and Houston, Texas. They had moved back to Texas while I went to New York and came back to Los Angeles. My mom said, Wajdi, بتبيع الباص هلا وبتروح عند خالتك شيري. I said, Mom, but the bus, Mom, is the best thing that happened to me. He said, you sell the bus and you go to your aunt Sherry. Her name is Sherry. And that's the last thing I wanted. But I can't say no to my mom. I knew that much. So I called her. Now, when they moved to Texas, this husband of hers had bought this big old mechanic shop and body shop and storage lot. 3 in 1. Okay? Mechanic to fix cars, body shop to fix cars with accidents and storage. When someone gets arrested, which happens all the time there, when the police arrest them, what do they do with their car? They send it to the storage lot. And the storage lot will charge them like $10 a day until they are released from prison. Then they will pay the amount due and release their cars. So he had bought all these 3. He's running the mechanic shop. I call her, say, listen, I've changed. I'm no longer the same old person. I've changed. And I want to make things up. Okay, my mom said, you have such bad reputation with them. Go back and show them your good side now. Okay, try to make up the errors. I said, good idea. It's a good idea. I spoke to him. He said, look, man, you will be a slave for 2 years. Okay, your rent is paid because they had a big house. Your food is paid. Your salary is guaranteed. And I will let you work in the mechanic shop before I make you in charge of the storage lot. Don't ask me for anything. Don't tell me you want to go out, you want to see friends, I don't want to hear anything from you. You need money, you're in a bad financial situation, come to me, work for 2 years, make money. You don't have to pay anything, you're only making, get back on your feet, then do whatever you want. You want to stay, marhaban, welcome. You want to leave, that's your choice. But make your mom happy. I said, deal. You will not hear of me anything that will make you upset. And I move. I sell the bus for a cheap price. I lost. And I go to Houston, Texas once again. So now I'm in Houston, Texas. I'm a changed person. I start working with him in the mechanic shop. I'm the one who's supposed to clean the rags. That was my job. He didn't want to make me a mudir ala tool. He wanted to humiliate me in the beginning so that when I tell other people what to do, they will know that this person has been through the various stages. He didn't become a mudir. There's no wasta in that sense over there. So I'm cleaning and doing whatever, fixing qahwa, shai, everything you can imagine. I'm a nice guy. Okay? I'm not asking for anything. I'm quiet, to myself and everything. Don't speak to anyone. And he would let me take the car at night when we would finish to go pray Salatul Isha in the masjid and come back. That's it. Fajr, we would be at work. Fajr time, we will not have the time for me to go to the masjid. Things are smooth, ya shabab. I'm making money. I have a whole floor for me, two bedrooms. Everything I want is there. Not paying anything. I'm making money, paying back my, the debt I had to Hisham and many other people. Until one day, his relative from Jama'at al-Tabligh paid us a visit. Jama'at al-Tabligh, you know them? They came to the house. His relative. And they said, come on, why don't you come? He doesn't pray, he doesn't know Allah, a'udhu billah, the guy is alat. Allah yahdi wa yusalhu. They said, come to the masjid. They started debating with them and telling them the people made it to the moon and you're still doing salah. And started giving them all this philosophy. They said, let this guy come with us one day. On the weekend, let him come one day. He still had some modesty, shyness. He said, one day let him go. It's a day off, let him go. I go with them. Going to Dallas. Now they pulled the stunt. After we went to Dallas, and we got there, he said, look man, we have to stay here for 3 days. I said, man, I have one day off, man. This guy is not playing games, okay? I need to go back. They said, we can't all go back because of you. I'll talk to him. I said, well, you talk to him, you talk to him. He calls him, says, look, we have to stay here for 3 days, and we didn't have this plan, blah, blah, blah. He lost his mind because he was all about work. I go with Jama'at Tabligh for 3 days. And during our sessions, I remember, wallahi, I can remember right now, even the people sitting next to me, and the Amir of them was an Arab. Unusual. But he was an Arab. And so he would give us the bayan after the salawat and everything. He wasn't really referring to Fada'il Sadaqat as much, he would be more on Riyadul Salihin tip. But anyways, among the things which he mentioned, now mind you, I'm not praying Jumu'ah. Okay? I'm not praying Jumu'ah because the guy told me you're here to work. And I don't know the ruling. Okay, so I'm just taking it to pray Dhuhr at the mechanic shop. Khalas. During the bayan, the guy mentioned a hadith that, لَيَنْتَهِيَنَّ أَقْوَامٌ. There's another hadith. Whoever abandons 3 Jumu'at, then Allah will seal his heart. I was like, whoa, ouch. That one hurts, man. I haven't been praying any Jumu'ah. That hadith got stuck in my mind. We finished a 3-day ordeal, and we went back. He's fed up with me, he's upset. Said, look, it's not my fault, man. These are your friends, your buddies, your relatives, I'm just a victim. But anyways, what had now entered my life? Jumu'ah. So I said, look, I'm sorry for what had happened, but I want to pray Jumu'ah in the masjid. Because all your other friends, they all tow truck drivers, they go. Let me go with them. He said, no. I said, why not? He said, I told you 2 years of your life. Okay? Friday is working hours. It's working days, working hours. You can't go pray Jumu'ah, you stay at work. I'm like, look man, this is not fair. Okay? Everybody gets a 1 hour lunch break. The masjid was far, so it'll be an hour and a half, an extra half hour, big deal. Let me go. My friend, this is not cool. Okay, 3 Jumu'at, I'll be in trouble. No way, Jose. I said, okay. First Jumu'ah, I remember, wallah. The first Jumu'ah, now that I know, I tried. I tried just before the time came. His friends, I was dealing with his other friends, said, look, talk to him, maybe you can convince him. They tried to talk him into it. Nothing, man. The guy was adamant. So they all drove right in front of me. Everybody's getting in the tow truck going to Jumu'ah, and I'm standing like this, with my one-piece uniform, like the mechanics. Said, okay. I go and I pray Dhuhr. I'm crying in the office like I've never cried before. Why are these? How come I can't pray Jumu'ah? Why am I praying Dhuhr in the office? What is this oppression? I hated the guy from the bottom of my heart. Before, I started liking him because he was being cool. He let me go pray Isha. Now I'm like, this is my enemy, man. The first Jumu'ah went by. I'm sad. I didn't get to pray, but now we have a conflict. We go back home, my aunt is over there, we start talking and worse, we start going and said, that's not fair, you're not letting me. He said, why don't you go worship Allah? Worship me. Hey. I said, I want to worship Allah on Jum'ah. I said, why you worship Allah? Worship me. Allah. He's ta'ban. I said, aywa. Okay, I know what kind of person you are now. Khalas. We're not going to last very long. I knew it. First Jumu'ah didn't let me go. Second Jumu'ah didn't let me go. And here comes the third Jumu'ah. I'm saying to myself, if I don't go today, I'm done. Allah will seal my heart. I will go back to the old ways. I don't want to go back to the old ways. I've learned my lesson. I'm going to pray istikhara. Okay? I didn't know the actual manner of praying istikhara. Istikhara was like, whatever. I prayed istikhara and I think I'm going to see a dream. Okay, because that's what we learned. That's what we're taught. You're taught istikhara is a dream. You see a vision, you know the result. Some people attach colors. You see red, you're going to be falling in love. You see blue, you're going to go to the skies. I don't know what they come up with. I said, okay, pray istikhara at night. And that morning was Friday morning. I wake up in the morning, wallahi al-azim. And Allah is my witness that these are not matters to lie about. You don't go to Jahannam to make people happy or to entertain them. I wake up in the morning and there's an ayah that is playing in my mind. An ayah that keeps playing by itself. No MP3, no MP4, nothing. Just repeating. Guess what the ayah was? Those who have heard it don't answer. Those who haven't heard it, guess. Guess what ayah my mind was automatically playing? Anyone? Anyone with a wild guess? Huh? يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله. No. Huh? From Juz' Amma. Good question. From Juz' Amma. Something that happened to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.